Thank you very much everyone for coming and welcome. And thanks for joining us today to celebrate World Day for Decent Work. Today is an important opportunity to take a moment to celebrate the decent work achievements in Australia and across the globe. But it also recognises that there is still much work to be done in ensuring that all workers enjoy decent work. Australian unions assess the quality and dignity of work in Australia by a number of indicators, and these include the inclusive nature of the workforce, the availability of satisfying jobs, friendly workplaces, reasonable working hours, fair treatment at work, and freedom, equality and dignity at work. For many Australians, their work is satisfying. They've got the opportunity to use their skills to the fullest and make a contribution to the common good. And their work provides fulfilling social interactions, freedom, dignity, economic security and equal opportunity. However, Australian unions must remain vigilant to ensure that decent work standards are maintained. In particular, an increasing number of Australians are failing to enjoy decent work because of precarious employment. A major report into precarious employment that we released earlier this week shows that working families are being exposed to greater financial risk by a business push to drive down costs and to maximise profits through the use of casual, part-time and contract work. Australian unions are working to ensure that decent work is delivered to all sections of the Australian economy and workforce. For example, the unions have been working to ensure decent work extends to protecting the rights of seasonal workers from the Pacific Islands. Seasonal workers who come to Australia for short periods of time to work in the horticultural industry. And right now, I take great pleasure in welcoming Caesar Mallam, State Secretary of the AWU, and invite him to share with us the work of the AWU in campaigning for decent work.
I want to address the issue of illegal workers and the seasonal workers. The illegal workers, you would have heard over the last 12 months in the press where the Department of Immigration have had some success and deporting some illegal workers, and I think last time was about 32 workers working in Gippsland. And the conditions these workers were under, it's horrible. You had about 10 people sleeping in a small house, and frankly, and I went and saw that, you wouldn't actually put your animals in there. Sleeping on the floor on mattresses. Now, there's current legislation in place which an employer had been fined. In breach of that will be fined $13,200 and $66,000 per illegal worker. That's great. Or up to 2 years imprisonment. But I have not seen an employer being prosecuted yet. And I've been saying that all along the last 2 years. It's about time the federal government get off their backside and start prosecuting some employers. It's not about picking up the illegal workers, putting them on the bus, putting them on the plane and sending them back to Malaysia and Indonesia and these countries. It's about prosecuting the companies who actually use them. Workers should be given decent wages and conditions for their labour, regardless of their status, colour, race and gender. I don't really give a damn where that people come from. Even if they are illegal, they've got the right as human beings to be treated decently.
Today, as you know, is an important day because it's a global day about decent work. And the reason that we're recognising and talking about this is because there's much work to be done around the globe. And the importance, of course, of having a campaign for decent work, because what does that mean? It actually means about how does work have a role to play in lifting people out of poverty. And unfortunately, we still have millions of workers and their families around the world suffering abhorrent conditions and living in poverty. And what work can do and what decent work can do is actually provide the opportunity of having a decent job. And what does that mean? A job where you actually get enough money to provide for your family, the needs of your family in terms of food, shelter, transport, and the costs of healthcare and education and the like. We're not talking about a lot in excess, we're talking about survival. So now legally here in Australia, you can't work at home and be paid any less than a worker in a factory. But that's the legal situation. And what I want you to understand is that that's not the actual reality for many thousands of workers. And what Tung and Mai and Toi and Nuit will tell you is about how still here in Australia, because of exploitation and fear and loss of work and loss of jobs, workers are still getting between $3 and $5 an hour working at home alone in their lounge room or their garage. And they're not receiving their superannuation, they're not receiving workers' compensation, and much of the work that they do is overtime that's not paid as overtime. In many cases, it's their children and their family that are also having to help to get the work done. So we want to make sure that on this global day you understand what it means in Australia as around the world, and I think much better than me you can hear directly from the workers themselves.
Hi, my name is Nguyet. I've been working in the industry for over 20 years as an out worker. I worked 7 days a week and up to 18 hours a day. So I got paid less than $10 to be able to cover everything. Like I have to pay tax and I have to pay my own super. And I never got any holidays or sick pay. So at the moment, I work for the union to be able to help other workers to improve their life or their situation. Thank you.
And thanks, Michelle and Caesar, and thank you all for coming along today and telling us what important work unions do in the area of decent work. So.